This video is made for people who are boxing bards. I have 2 videos for level 115 bards, and that will give you a setup that is intended for somebody who is maining a bard. And it's a different approach, and it's going to go over a lot of different song melodies, etc. And all you would need to do is update the spells to level 115 or 120. This one is designed to go out, you pull the mob in, you're going to hit 1 or 2 keys, and then you're going back to, in my case, my necromancer, which is what I'm maining, so I can focus as much of my time as possible on casting dots, using my pet, tanking, etc. Spell-wise, these are the spells I'm using here. Hopefully you can see that. But I will tell you. First off, I'm going to use my aura. So I cast that. Get that up there. And I have, this is a silver or free-to-play bard. And his gear is purple, which means that he can use, this is a tier 1, generally tier 1 Lorien Song gear. But obviously, most of his augments are prestige, so they're not going to be effective. But if we look at, for example, here we have the tier 3 augs. Those work, so I have all the tier 3 augs that I need for these spells. He's got his level 125 spells, 121 to 125. So this is to keep him fairly inexpensive to use. Because I am boxing my bard with my necromancer, I tend to rotate slow into my melody mix because I'm tanking it with a pet, and it helps a little bit. And slow lasts a little over a minute. So the way I have a melody set up is I rotate through a specific song melody, and then I rotate through it a second time, and then I cast slow. Then I rotate, cast slow, rotate, cast slow. I have, for my synergy spell on my bard, I use Nord's Disdain. That doesn't push the mob, and it's the lowest mana for the high. I have maxed my synergy. If you haven't maxed your synergy, drop back to whatever insult you can still use. Obviously, the reason you want to do your insults is when you cast them, it's going to put a buff up here, and that buff will bump up the damage for your next melee attack or your next direct damage spell by 270,000 points. And if you've got a full group, that's 270,000 points for everybody who is doing a melee attack or direct damage. Now, if you're working with a necromancer, for example, and they're dotting, you might want your necromancer to go ahead and at least take 1 or 2 swings, to be attacking with his melee weapon, because that way he'll get the benefit of the proc, and he'll also get the benefit of the direct damage. Now, if the necromancer is using blood, then that's a direct damage spell, and it will trigger your synergy. But if somebody's not using a direct damage or a melee attack spell, he's not going to get the benefit of that. Something, if you're playing with a cleric, for example, you might encourage the cleric, say, hey, dude, if you step up and you start attacking the mob, you're going to trigger synergy every time I pop that. And how often am I doing synergy? Well, I put synergy between, I have a set of chants. I use my 3, 4, 5, and 6 are my chants. And in between 3 and 4, I put a 7. Between 4 and 5, I put a 7. Between 5 and 6, I put a 7. So I'm recasting synergy all the time. Now, I could do synergy more often. You could, memorize 2 insults. You could put it between, in this case, I have Aria and War March. You could put it between there. My synergy is the number of insults I cast is what I feel comfortable with in terms of how fast my mana goes down, how fast I can regen mana, etc. This is a nice mix for me, but definitely you can bump that up if you're a raid bard, or you just have more breaks, where you can rest and get your mana up. So, as I said, the ADPS spells that I use is Aria, War March, and of course I have my Aura up. And then I do Chants. I find that gives me a very nice mix between ADPS and damage. As I said, my Bard, this Silver Bard, does about 400,000 DPS if everything is clicking along appropriately. So I'll give you an example. Here we are with this dude. I hit the 1 key, and it's going to send in I need to switch how there we go. So I'm old school. I've been playing this a long time, and I tend to use this forward-facing view when I'm pulling, though I do like to go back a little bit when I'm in the middle of combat so I can see what's going on. So this is the melee attack. And then, because I told you 1 or 2 keys, well, the second key, this bar is all of my burns, or I should say the majority of my burns. And I would not do this necessarily if I was maining a bard. But in this case, I hit the asterisk on my number key. It triggers my epic and all of this other crap. Now I'm going to have to hit the 1 again, because the epic always breaks your melody. Whenever you do the epic, you're going to have to recast your melody. But that will hopefully, and then you can just cast this whenever you happen to be focused on your bard to cast those up. Now, Spire of Minstrel and the Bard Breastplate don't stack. So after a minute and a half or so, if I think about it, I'll click the Breastplate. I also have Frenzied Kicks up here. You can only put so much at once. And let's see. 1,000 Blades. That one only refreshes every 33 minutes. I tend to pop 1,000 Blades just when, things are going to heck and back and you want to do a little extra damage. I have, let's see. So we've got this melody. If I want to stop, I have 2 ways to do it. One is my fade key. And the other is I hit the 2 key, which is going to be melody, attack off, stance passive, Celo Sonata, and clouding. So I hit that, and he is out of the game, but that's not the fade. If I want to fade, then I hit the number pad 0 key, is the way I've got that hooked up, and I'll lose my aggro. Now, I've set these as X target 1, X target 2, and X target 3. Again, if you don't have an X target, anytime you have an X target in your hotkey, your social key, it will ignore it because there is no X target, and it'll just attack whatever you're targeting. But I put these up for demonstration purposes to kind of show you what I'm doing here. So I've got 1 and 2. 3 is if there's an add, I hit the 3 key, and it will immediately target X target 2, and it will mez that mob. So he's mezzed. If I want to go back to the main target, I hit the 1, and it will target X target 1. I also have a key for 3, which will hit X. So I hit the 4 key, and it's going to target X target 3, and it's going to mez that mob. Then I hit 1 again, and it's going to target X target 1 and going to start the melody up again. This is kind of a cool key just because it's fun. I don't know if it's the best way to do this, but you've got a bunch of mobs around you. Your wave of your mez Your AE Mez only has a 35-foot range, and sometimes you're not getting everybody in there. So for fun, I have, stop song, attack off. Then it's going to do Lure of the Siren song, which say these guys are within 75 feet, but they're outside of the 35-foot range. And after it does that, it will cast my AE Mez. So it'll do something like this. I hit the 5 key, and you see all of these guys would be pulled towards me. In this case, they're dummies, so they're not actually pulled towards me. And it would cast my Mez, which isn't going to affect those guys, but it does affect these guys. Wave of Stupor. So that's your AE Mez. I hit AE Mez a lot instead of X target 1 or 2 if I'm with a group and there's mobs around. Whatever you guys want. I have a charm key. I don't use charm on my bard when I'm boxing it. Too much focus to be messing around with charm. These are pull keys, silent displacement, long boot, sonic disturbance. I put long just because it has a really nice range. And because I play all these characters, sometimes I forget certain abilities because I'm doing different things. And so when I set up my social keys, because I'm playing so many classes, I sometimes use terms that will tell me what it does. Dirge of the Sleepwalker, it's a long mez. Don't use it too much. The 0 key will cycle through the various NPCs. And then this key is used for calming a mob. I can hit that to calm it. And then this will cycle through extended target. If you've got a lot of people on extended target and you want to do various things. These are just targeting aids to help assist you. Hotbar 2 is, I've got a defensive key. Things are going bad for whatever reason. I want to, maybe you combine it with displacement. You pull all the mobs. You want all the aggro on you because your tank has gone down. You do sonic displacement. Or actually, discordant chords, which will give you the full, get all their hatred on you. So then you hit your defensive key. Death Dance is going to give you a little time. Hopefully your cleric or your shaman can get your tank back up and things will go okay. This is just a save your ass key. Aggro debuff, this uses the lyrical pranksters. Those guys have the same aggro you had, and hopefully it will be a distraction. And then Thousand Blades, Shield, Frenzied Kicks. I have Kick on auto. You want to have auto activate for your kick. Kick actually does a little bit, especially if you have Intimidate and the right AAs for that. Step and Viz, it's just Liar Leap combined with clouding. You can use it to get past mobs that see Invis, things like that. Fade key, this is my fade key, nothing fancy here. And then I told you these are all my DPSs. And this is my standard, active mercenary. So this is if you have a cleric or a tank, you can put whatever you want. Other stances, whatever mercenaries you use, you put this in and it will put the mercenary back active. Same, you can put the mercenary passive, however you want to do it. That's really good if you're using your bard and you're pulling. Block heals, this will block all your heal over time, etc., complete heals, stuff like that. It's been updated for the current expansion. And then if you're working with an actual healer, you probably want to unblock all the stuff that you blocked for your mercenary healer. I do not like lev up all the time, so I'll hit no lev, and that will block spell the lev that you get when you do clouding to give you your regular invis and your invis to undead. But if you want to be back where you can actually get lev, then that will do that. It'll give you lev and it unblocks it. So block it, takes lev off. Another way to get Lev is Illusion Drake. That gives you Lev if you want that separately. So there's my basic setup. I've come over here. This is to give you Symphony of Battle. This is obviously Circle of Power and other little clickies that you can use for whatever. And a few, Staunch Recovery, Lesson the Devoted, Steadfast Servant. Little toys up here, things that you might use. You can also do Shift 2, bunch of more toys, Shift 3, whatever you want to put in there. If you have a bunch of stuff that you don't use very much. Again, keep in mind, this is a box bard. So what I'm going to be doing mostly with my little box bard is pulling, running up, hit the 1 key, get that stuff going. Go ahead and hit the X damage. Notice I did my epic, so I'm going to hit this again to get the melody going. And you can see that going, and that's it. There's your box bard. There's not much to it. You've got him going. Now you run over to your other characters, whatever you're doing, and this guy is putting as much ADPS as he can for any class, and he's doing as much damage as he can, and you don't have to focus on him. I'm not touching a key. At this point, I would be over on my Necromancer doing Necromancer stuff. And that's how I set up a boxed bard. I will probably throw in a few other little bonus material after this, and you can make of it what you will. You guys take care. So if you go to the EverQuest forums, you go to EQ Freelance, you're going to find various melodies that you can use. This was a suggestion for a basic group-only rotation. It's very much close to what I modeled my own melody rotation on. And you can use it, you can modify it, do whatever you want with it. So somebody asked, when do you use Arcane Harmony versus Song of Suffering? And the sad answer is a lot of times you don't use those anymore. They have not done a good job of upgrading the various focuses and ADPS spells compared to what we used to have. And I will show you. So this is a question that was asked in EverQuest forums. And as I said, with the amount of damage you do with chants now, they've really changed the way you play a bard once you max out your chant focuses. And if you've got your chant focuses maxed out, you're probably not going to be using these songs, or you might use one or two of them instead of slow, etc.